At Simplex, safety is always our first priority. This instructional video outlines several best practices while working around or operating our equipment. Simplex always recommends to adhere to any local governing laws or policies set forth. It's imperative that you understand how your equipment operates and functions. Simplex always recommends that you review all instructions and warning decals placed on the equipment before use. Remember to always wear safety gear when working with hydraulic equipment. Carefully plan your system by selecting components designed to perform the intended operation and which will adequately perform with new or existing equipment. Know the weight you intend to lift and select a cylinder with enough capacity to provide the appropriate factor of safety. Appropriate factors of safety vary with the type of load to be lifted and number of lifting points. Prepare a lifting plan that accounts for potential changes in load factors, such as load shift, center of gravity, and stability. As a rule of thumb, choose a cylinder with at least 20% more capacity than is required by the lifting plan. Simplex cannot be responsible for damage or injury resulting from unsafe use of product, lack of maintenance, or system applications. Consult Simplex when in doubt as to safety precautions or applications. It's important that you visually inspect your system components before each use. Make sure all of your connections points are secure and leak-free. In the event you find a component loose, leaking, or damaged, repair or replace as needed before use. This will promote safety and extend component life. Hoses should be examined thoroughly to ensure that the rubber coating is not damaged or distorted in any manner. In the event this is present, remove immediately from service and discard. Hydraulic cylinders must have a load cap installed and be fully engaged into the piston prior to use. Thread protector should be installed on the collar threads when not in use. To prevent damage to the equipment or harm to the operator, Simplex recommends that each jack or cylinder be fully supported on a solid, firm, non-sliding foundation capable of supporting the load. If unsure, cylinder bases may be necessary to aid in promoting a firm surface. Refer to our cylinder accessories in our catalog for further reference. Always calculate the oil requirements for any given system. Use a reservoir size with at least 20% more capacity than needed. Never use a smaller reservoir and fill as you go to compensate. This can cause an unsafe condition. When you have a system connected to cylinders or tools, make sure that the equipment is fully retracted prior to refilling your reservoir. Care must be taken not to overfill. This may cause harm to the operator or damage to the equipment. Only fill to the recommended oil level for each model. Hydraulic rams are not meant to be used as permanent supports. They are designed to lift and lower. If you need to hold the load for any length of time, cribbing or Simplex lock nut cylinder should be used. Prior to performing a lift, you must always identify the number of lifting points and locations to properly distribute the load. This is called load balance. Size, center of gravity, and load geometry must be considered in order to correctly determine load balance. When placing your cylinders under a load, ensure that they are centered or equally distributed on multiple rams. Off-center loading can result in the slipping out and loss of the load. If a cylinder is not perpendicular to the load, Simplex recommends compression blocking or tilt saddles. To increase your safety factor, it's good practice to use blocking or cribbing under the loads as you raise it. Position yourself in a manner that will keep you clear of the load and will not allow your hands or other body parts between the load and the cribbing. When using quick couplers, make sure the couplings are clean to prevent contamination entering the hydraulic circuit before coupling. Threaded quick couplers must be fully engaged by hand tightening the collar as illustrated. Flush face couplers are fully engaged when you push them together and hear an audible click sound. Never use excessive tightening force that may distort the fittings or strip the thread profile. Never attempt to disconnect hydraulic hoses, fittings, or couplers under pressure. Unload the ram, open the release screw on the hand pump, and shift or open all hydraulic controls several times. If system includes a gauge, double-check the gauge to ensure pressure has been completely released. Do not drop sharp or heavy objects on hose. Keep hose out of heavy traffic areas. This will cause internal damage to hose wire strands. Applying pressure to a damaged hose may cause it to rupture. Make sure to inspect hydraulic hoses prior to use and avoid sharp bends and kinks when routing hydraulic hoses in your system. Only use the lever bar that came with the product or recommended length. Never use extension or cheater bars to reduce handle effort. This may cause an unsafe condition or damage to the equipment or operator. Always refer to the operating instructions for safe use of lever bars. When using hydraulic equipment near heat or welding, always be mindful to protect the equipment and components. The use of flame retardant sheets or metal shields to protect the system components from damage is recommended. Hydraulic fluid can ignite if vaporized or exposed to high temperatures. Refer to the hydraulic fluid MSDS for additional information on flashpoint. Extreme care must be taken when transporting or placing equipment in position. Always use the handle to transport or place equipment. Never utilize the hydraulic hose as a carrying handle. This may cause damage to the hose or fittings. This concludes our safety video presentation. Visit us at www.tksimplex.com to learn more about our product solutions.